Angular succeeding can, again, fairly even, 5, 3, 4. So angular is the strongest, cadent and succeedent is the smallest, whereas in the signs it was 4, 6, 4. So the fixed signs were the strongest, and here the angular houses, so determined and driving, trying to make things happen. That's her energy. She's a doer, a maker, a pusher, a determined person, makes something happen. Intuition 7, that's all the planets in the first quadrant, first 3 houses. Thinking 2, of the horizon. Thinking about the effects of what she's doing is not the strongest suit. It's like that's only 2. Sensation, responding to other people, interacting to where other people are coming, listening to other people and responding, 0, that's her weakest element. Okay, so she's going to push to make things happen. She's not going to respond that well once they've been done or anything. It's not, her strength is not in responding so much. And then 3 points, feeling below the horizon. So there's a certain amount of feeling about the response, feeling that if you get good feedback or bad feedback, there's a need to feel okay about that you've done recently. But even there, Capricorn's on the descendant. So that's how she responds to others and takes impressions in, cautiously, strategically, practically, matter-of-factly, defensively. So she doesn't respond. She projects her personal sensitivity, but she responds practically, defensively, and takes things in cautiously. So it's hard to reach her. It's easy for her to reach out and reach you. It's easy to acknowledge what she's doing or to align with what she's doing, but she's not a follower. She's not the responder. Okay, so that's okay. That's the self, fire, 3 relationships, houses, 5 concerns. That's the earth. That's a practical. When it comes down to material things, there is a practical concern here. And that's the predominant. So in the signs, it was not the predominant. In the signs, it was the fire that was predominant, the doing things. They need to be active. And when it comes to circumstances and worldly concerns, it's the concern, it's taking care of concerns, having enough money, being in control of things, not having to beg, borrow, or wanting to be able to make things happen and not having to be beholden to others. Rewards, 1 water. So again, that's more the judgmental, emotional things. It's not about so much the emotional return. Okay, so when we get to that, I'll pull the moon over here, the chart over here. I want to look at this a little bit stronger. Okay, now we'll start with the moon because it's so key in this chart. It's so important. The moon in Aries, there's a need to prove things. I need to do this. Let me do this for you. I need to do this. Let me nurture you. Let me make you a cake. Let me make things. Let me do things. Let me take this for you. So you would think that moon could run a restaurant or could feed people, but you wouldn't say, if she made something for you, you wouldn't say, no, you're not going to eat it. She's already made it. Ta-da. It is. But it's impulsive. It's ruled by Mars. There's a need to do things, to be active, and they do things. But her moon, that moon in Aries, in the 10th house, there's a need to be working. There's a need to have authority. There's a need to be the boss. There's a need to be in control. Because if I'm not, who's going to let other people or lesser people be in control? Come on, that's not going to make sense. I got to do this myself. And the need to do it is interesting. Her aspects to her moon, it's trine the sun. That's a nice aspect. The only difficult aspect is the square to Saturn. Okay, the squares to Saturn adds a worry or a cautious or a kind of practical side or defensiveness. So the moon in Aries, first of all, is not going to be that emotional. Cancer ascendant will be, but the moon will take, the Cancer ascendant can get sensitive, but the moon's going to act on every sensitivity. It's going to act on things, going to compete, going to make things happen, going to prove things, that she can take care of those things. She's not going to want to be defensive. She's not going to want to be caught in a depressed home situation. She's not going to be caught doing boring domestic things more than is necessary. She'd be efficient, Saturn in the 6th, squaring that moon. But there's a need to live up to a certain standard and be proud of how you're living. And one's prepared to work hard or worry about not living in, is too proud to live in a situation less than what she wants, in a bad house or a bad neighborhood or thing. It seems like that would worry her. She's going to need to have a certain style to live in, need to prove things. Okay, so when you're bringing up a kid like this who needs to be in control of everything, needs to have all the attention, needs to be doing everything, how do you tell her what to do? She's going to be doing it. She's going to prove. I can prove to that. I can prove I can be as much of my son as anybody else could be. Okay, that's the fire. And but there is some worry or some caution or some reserve from the father, from the Saturn, that did not give as much affection to that Mars, to that moon in Aries. So the worry or the caution of Saturn fires up that Aries to have to prove even more. If I get depressed, I can't live like that. I can't be held like that. I can't live by what my parents are saying. I can't live. I got to prove I can do this as good. I may never be good enough for them, but I'm going to prove I can do as better than them or as good as them. So even though there's a depression, a restriction from the Saturn, it fires that cardinal moon to have to prove itself. If this was like 6 hours later, the moon in the 7th house, she'd be trying to prove everything just to the partner or to the relationship. Okay. But, if we're in the 8th house, she'd be trying to prove taking care of everything for money, although it still may be part of that. It's still, but that proving that she's trustworthy. The 9th is proving that she understands everything, that she's seeing things right, that she's being right, that she's not being blamed or wrong. But here, it's in the 10th house, there's a need. I can pay for myself. I can take for myself. I don't need to rely on the family. I don't need to drain the family or cause them more difficulties. I'm going to get my own accomplishment. I'm going to accomplish things myself. I need to get my own authority, have my own career, have my own work, have my own home, have my own life. I need to be the one in charge of my own place. Get out of my way. Kids will know this, but they won't see it exactly. It's just that's mom. That's what they're used to. So if she has boys, the boys will go up looking for a girl who's going to do everything. And if it's girls, they're going to grow up feeling they're supposed to do everything too, but they can't compete with mom. They're going to have to do things to live up to it or disassociate. So she wouldn't let that happen. She's going to be in control of family, home, take care of all the personal needs that have to be done. She's going to work hard on that. That's the Saturn, serious side of her. That is high. That's the need to prove things. Okay, that's the need to achieve things, need to accomplish things. And it being the handle of the bundle, that puts really extra focus on it. It balances the two sides, all the energy below it. The reason I would need to work so hard is because I need to live in a certain lifestyle. I need to have my own subjective world. I need to have my home, my family, kids. I need to have all that in church. And I can't leave it to something, rely on someone else. I got to do it myself. Okay, so yeah, so it would be hard in a relationship to meet someone that would be as ambitious or as strong to take care of things as her. She was like, she wouldn't necessarily attract someone who wouldn't be ambitious. She wouldn't have the time of day for him almost. So if she did, she'd be doing everything for them. Okay, so this is this strong moon up high. The highest point in your chart, the highest planet in your chart towards the midheaven is the one that's most prominent. You're rising it. It's the one that's most prominent. That's the 10th house is most prominent. I think up there will be noticeable. Whereas down below, it's not so much. So here you have the Cancer ascendant with the Leo moon in the first house. That Leo moon, it's creative. I need to be creative. She's gonna be sensitive about what she's doing. She's gonna take things personally, but she's gonna have her style and her health. So there's a worry about health, but there's an ability to keep active and keep healthy. And her sun is really important. It's important for her. Like sun in the first house is a healthy factor. It's a shining factor. It's a leading factor. It's like show and tell. I'm showing you. Here's who I am. So it's a strong identity. It's triumphed by the moon. It's reinforced by that. The only difficult aspect to it is Neptune. So she has a Neptune factor with her sun. Okay. like I say, we're tuning in. We're not trying to define something. We're tuning into different complexes, different layers, different frequencies that are going on in a person's life. And the Neptune square the Sun, that's a gullible factor. That can be gullible, over-caring, haunted, guilt-ridden, over-dedicated, or it can be fanatical, Zionistic, messianic. I can solve everything. I'll solve everything. But often there is a gullible side to it. This dedicated side, like it. In the end, in one way, it brings in certain sorrows, and another way, it brings in like a sense of compassion and depth and a need to be dedicated. Okay, so that Neptune's in her fourth house. This points to complications and dependencies at home, around the home. So, particularly perhaps with mom. How could she ever live up to mom's expectations? Well, mom's expectations, the moon's up there high, what she has to do. But Neptune is being squared, the sun is being squared by Neptune, so maybe she's blamed a lot, or maybe she was feeling guilty for causing problems. Like there's your chart, when you have your chart, it's the chart of your parents, their circumstances when you were born. So when she was born, the mother thought there was a serious attitude. They were like, serious, oh, geez, how are we going to deal with this? And there was a confusing aspect between the parents. Who's going to take care of what? Who's going to do what? There's some confusion there. What are we going to do now? Anna's a girl, or what are we? So there was confusion around how to deal with this. So no, we don't know what it is. It's linked to mom and dad, but everything is in our chart because we're born into there through mom. We come into the world. So there was some confusion or complication there, and it comes out as a kind of guilt complex. Well, she has such a driving projective energy, you wouldn't think there's a guilt complex, but she wouldn't want to be blamed for anything. She wouldn't want to be blamed or guilty, but she probably grew up being blamed to a certain degree, or put down, not supported by the Saturn to the moon, and perhaps blamed or confused or not living up to expectations of the Neptune. So she grew up, I'll deal with this, I'm going to be the best. And her son is going to try and overcome that Neptune and live up to, make her world better than the family she grew up in. It's the haunting element here. How do you take care of mom or dad or what? Take care of things. So again, as soon as the needs show up, her needs for moon is going to push to take care of it. So she's going to try to take care of everybody. How could she let anyone down? She's going to try to take care of everyone. But she can do it so well. She has the driving side to make it happen. She can project it, but she's not always clearly seeing how to respond to others. She knows what has to be done to take care of difficult situations, but not necessarily how to. It'd be more difficult to react to people who are in difficult situations. If they're not being fixed, if people are staying there, got a chronic problem, that would be more difficult to happen. So I don't know what this is, but it's there. It's a strong aspect, and it's there, so we don't see it. You're not going to see it with all that fire. If you get closer, you might run into it. It could be she got everything together, and one of the kids is a little more confusing. Okay, so